Greetings, fellow enthusiasts of the intricate network that governs our every move, the nervous system. We are Equation by Pharmacist Moms, and today, we're diving headfirst into the awe-inspiring world of neurology. Welcome to a video where we unravel the complex and highly organized symphony that is the organization of the nervous system. Whether you're a neuroscience student, a curious mind, or just someone eager to grasp the wonders within, you're in for an electrifying ride. So, buckle up as we embark on this journey through the organized chaos that is the nervous system. Before we delve deeper into the neural intricacies, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and ring the notification bell so you won't miss any of our upcoming videos decoding the mysteries of the brain. Now, let's kick off this exploration into the organization of the nervous system. The nervous system is distinctive in the vast complexity of thought processes. It controls actions it can perform. The central nervous system consists of the brain and spinal cord. It is referred to as central because it receives each minute literally millions of bits of information from the different sensory nerves and sensory organs, and then integrates all these to determine responses to be made by the body. Before beginning this discussion of the nervous system, let's look at the highlights of this topic. 1. Central nervous system neuron, the basic functional unit. 2. Sensory part of the nervous system, sensory receptors. 3. Motor part of the nervous system, effectors. 4. Role of synapses in processing information. 5. Storage of information, memory. 6. Major levels of central nervous system function and 7. Comparison of the nervous system with a computer. Let's begin. The neuron is the basic working unit of the nervous system, a specialized cell designed to transmit information to other nerve cells, muscle, or gland cells. The central nervous system contains more than 100 billion neurons. This figure shows a typical neuron. Most neurons have a cell body, or soma, an axon, and dendrites. The soma contains the nucleus and cytoplasm. The axon extends from the cell body and often gives rise to many smaller branches before ending at nerve terminals. Dendrites extend from the neuron cell body and receive messages from other neurons. The myelin sheath is a greatly extended and modified plasma membrane wrapped around the nerve axon in spiral fashion. Synapses are the contact points where one neuron communicates with another. The dendrites are covered with synapses, formed by the ends of axons from other neurons. Incoming signals enter this neuron through synapses, located mostly on the neuronal dendrites, but also on the cell body. For different types of neurons, there may be only a few hundred, or as many as 200,000 such synaptic connections from input fibers. Conversely, the output signal travels by way of a single axon leaving the neuron. Then, this axon has many separate branches to other parts of the nervous system or peripheral body. What is the sensory part of the nervous system? Let's learn. Most activities of the nervous system are initiated by sensory experiences that excite sensory receptors, whether visual receptors in the eyes, auditory receptors in the ears, tactile receptors on the surface of the body, or other kinds of receptors. These sensory experiences can either cause immediate reactions from the brain, or memories of the experiences can be stored in the brain for minutes, weeks, or years and determine bodily reactions at some future date. This figure shows the somatic portion of the sensory system, which transmits sensory information from the receptors of the entire body surface, and from some deep structures. This information enters the central nervous system through peripheral nerves, and is conducted immediately to multiple sensory areas in the spinal cord at all levels, the reticular substance of the medulla, pons, and mesencephalon of the brain, the cerebellum, the thalamus, and areas of the cerebral cortex. What is the motor part of the nervous system? Let's discuss. The most important, eventual role of the nervous system is to control the various bodily activities. This is achieved by controlling contraction of appropriate skeletal muscles throughout the body, contraction of smooth muscle in the internal organs, and secretion of active chemical substances by both exocrine and endocrine glands in many parts of the body. These activities are collectively called motor functions of the nervous system, and the muscles and glands are called effectors because they are the actual anatomical structures that perform the functions dictated by the nerve signals. More than 99% of all sensory information is discarded by the brain as irrelevant and insignificant. For example, one is usually unaware of the parts of the body that are in contact with clothing, as well as of the seat pressure when sitting. Similarly, attention is drawn only to an occasional object in one's field of vision. Although, when critical sensory information excites the mind, it is immediately channeled into proper integrative and motor regions of the brain to cause desired responses. This channeling and processing of information is called the integrative function of the nervous system. Consequently, if a person places a hand on a hot stove, the anticipated instant response is to lift the hand, followed by other associated responses, such as moving the entire body away from the stove and perhaps even shouting with pain. What is the role of synapses in processing information? The synapse is the junction point from one neuron to the next. We will discuss the details of synaptic function in our upcoming video. However, it is important to point out here that synapses determine the directions that the nervous signals will spread through the nervous system. Some synapses transmit signals from one neuron to the next with ease, whereas others transmit signals only with difficulty. Also, facilitatory and inhibitory signals from other areas in the nervous system can control synaptic transmission, sometimes opening the synapses for transmission and at other times closing them. In addition, some postsynaptic neurons respond with large numbers of output impulses, and others respond with only a few. Thus, the synapses perform a selective action, often blocking weak signals while allowing strong signals to pass, but at other times selecting and amplifying certain weak signals, and often channeling these signals in many directions rather than in only one direction. How is information stored in brain? Let's discuss. Only a small fraction of even the most important sensory information usually causes immediate motor response. But much of the information is stored for future control of motor activities and for use in the thinking processes. Most storage occurs in the cerebral cortex, but even the basal regions of the brain and the spinal cord can store small amounts of information. The storage of information is the process we call memory, and this, too, is a function of the synapses. Each time certain types of sensory signals pass through sequences of synapses, these synapses become more capable of transmitting the same type of signal the next time, a process called facilitation. After the sensory signals have passed through the synapses a large number of times, the synapses become so facilitated that signals generated within the brain itself can also cause transmission of impulses through the same sequences of synapses, even when the sensory input is not excited. This gives the person a perception of experiencing the original sensations, although the perceptions are only memories of the sensations. Once memories have been stored in the nervous system, they become part of the brain processing mechanism for future thinking. That is, the thinking processes of the brain compare new sensory experiences with stored memories. The memories then help to select the important new sensory information and to channel this into appropriate memory storage areas for future use or into motor areas to cause immediate bodily responses. What are the major levels of central nervous system function? Let's learn. The human nervous system has inherited special functional capabilities from each stage of human evolutionary development. From this heritage, 3 major levels of the central nervous system have specific functional characteristics. 1. The spinal cord level. 2. The lower brain, or subcortical level, and 3. The higher brain or cortical level. Let's discuss them one by one. First one is spinal cord level. We every so often think of the spinal cord as being only a conduit for signals from the periphery of the body to the brain, or in the opposite direction, from the brain back to the body. This is far from the truth. Even after the spinal cord has been cut, in the high neck region, many highly organized spinal cord functions still occur. For example, neuronal circuits in the cord can cause 1. Walking movements. 2. Reflexes that withdraw portions of the body from painful objects. 3. Reflexes that stiffen the legs to support the body against gravity, and 4. Reflexes that control local blood vessels, gastrointestinal movements, or urinary excretion. Moreover, the upper levels of the nervous system often operate not by sending signals directly to the periphery of the body, but by sending signals to the control centers of the cord, simply commanding the cord centers to perform their functions. Next is lower brain or subcortical level. Many, if not most, of what we call subconscious activities of the body are controlled in the lower areas of the brain, in the medulla, pons, mesencephalon, hypothalamus, thalamus, cerebellum, and basal ganglia. For instance, subconscious control of arterial pressure and respiration is achieved mainly in the medulla and pons. Control of equilibrium is a combined function of the older portions of the cerebellum and the reticular substance of the medulla, pons, and mesencephalon. Feeding reflexes, such as salivation and licking of the lips, in response to the taste of food, are controlled by areas in the medulla, pons, mesencephalon, amygdala, and hypothalamus. And many emotional patterns, such as anger, excitement, sexual response, reaction to pain, and reaction to pleasure, can still occur after destruction of much of the cerebral cortex. After the preceding account of the many nervous system functions that occur at the cord and lower brain levels, one may ask, what is left for the cerebral cortex to do? The answer to this is complex, but it begins with the fact that the cerebral cortex is an extremely large memory storehouse. The cortex never functions alone, but always in association with lower centers of the nervous system. Without the cerebral cortex, the functions of the lower brain centers are often imprecise. The vast storehouse of cortical information usually converts these functions to determinative and precise operations. Finally, the cerebral cortex is essential for most of our thought processes, but it cannot function by itself. In fact, it is the lower brain centers, not the cortex, that initiate wakefulness in the cerebral cortex, thus opening its bank of memories to the thinking machinery of the brain. Thus, each portion of the nervous system performs specific functions. But it is the cortex that opens a world of stored information for use by the mind. What are the similarities between the nervous system and computer? Let's discover. When computers were first developed, it soon became apparent that these machines have many features in common with the nervous system. First, all computers have input circuits that are comparable to the sensory portion of the nervous system, as well as output circuits that are comparable to the motor portion of the nervous system. In simple computers, the output signals are controlled directly by the input signals, operating in a manner similar to that of simple reflexes of the spinal cord. In more complex computers, the output is determined both by input signals and by information that has already been stored in memory in the computer, which is analogous to the more complex reflex and processing mechanisms of our higher nervous system. Furthermore, as computers become even more complex, it is necessary to add still another unit, called the central processing unit, which determines the sequence of all operations. This unit is analogous to the control mechanisms in our brain that direct our attention, first to one thought, or sensation, or motor activity, then to another, and so forth, until complex sequences of thought or action take place. This is a simple block diagram of a general-purpose computer, showing the basic components and their interrelations. Even a rapid study of this diagram demonstrates its similarity to the nervous system. The fact that the basic components of the general-purpose computer are analogous to those of the human nervous system demonstrates that the brain is basically a computer that continuously collects sensory information and uses this, along with stored information, to compute the daily course of bodily activity. And there you have it, our first exhilarating journey into the intricate tapestry of the nervous system. We've only scratched the surface, but we hope this glimpse into the organization of the nervous system has sparked your curiosity and left you eager for more. This is just the beginning of our series on the nervous system, where we'll be unraveling the mysteries of neurons, exploring the wonders of neurotransmitters, and delving into the complex interactions that make us who we are. If you enjoyed this exploration, make sure to give it a thumbs up, share it with your fellow brain enthusiasts, and, of course, subscribe to our channel. Don't miss out on the upcoming episodes that promise to take you deeper into the fascinating world within your skull. Thank you for joining us on this neuroscientific journey. Your questions, comments, and curiosity drive this exploration. Until next time, we are Equation by Pharmacist Moms, signing off and looking forward to unraveling more of the incredible mysteries that make up the nervous system. Stay curious, stay excited, and keep exploring the wonders of the brain.